So, welcome everybody. I'm Nick Millington, I'm the President of the Permanent Way Institution, a very fine institution, I would say that. This is great to see everybody in person and for this conference now to go ahead, a very, very important topic. So thank you to everybody for coming. Thank you to the speakers and thank you to the organisers. Also, just a little bit of a plug for the Permanent Way Institution. Great to see, or for me, as the President, handing out certificates, professional development certificates, really rewarding through the last 6 to 12 months. Chartered engineers, incorporated engineers, we're now helping apprentices, and the Permanent Way Institution for both track engineers, electrification engineers, and more. Things like Lunch and Learn is now taking off as a part of the weekly furniture in the railway industry, which is great. And thank you to everybody who's put on Lunch and Learn sessions for the Permanent Way Institution. I've got a conference on the 26th of May on railway safety as well. So a little plug for my own conference there in Birmingham in May. So I'd like to see more of you there. You're more than welcome, of course. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is hand you over to Peter. Peter is your host for this morning. Peter's going to give you the induction, as it were, the safety arrangements, and the housekeeping. So, Peter. Thank you.
Nick, thank you very much. And not to turn this into an Oscars ceremony, I promise not to turn tearful in making the thank yous, but I think as an electrification engineer, I would like to say thank you to Stephen Barber and the PWI team for giving us guys a home, actually, in a professional institution. It's great to have the opportunity to be able to organise conferences of this nature within the environment of a PEI who are supportive of this sector of the industry. So that's great. Specifically within PWI for today's organisation, let's thank Kate Hatwell, stood at the back there, who will now turn very red behind her phone. Thank you, Kate, for doing all the hard work, getting this together for us. Now, I have lots of pieces of paper in my pocket with things written on it to remind me to say stuff, and the first thing I must be reminded to do is the safety briefing for today about the venue. There are no planned fire alarms. If it sounds, it's real, and we exit through the fire doors, which you can see around the auditorium. We go down the main staircase, outside the front main doors, and on the left-hand side is the meeting point. In here, first aid is on the doors, and there is a defibrillator on site. So if any of you, or even me, collapse during the event, please remember there's a defibrillator. I want to just say a few words about the conference today, but I want to just return to Nick Millington as President of the PWI and bang his drum for him for a minute or two. Nick is tirelessly and has been tirelessly working on the programme of improvement for worker safety on the railway. I can only describe what I've seen Nick achieve as hugely impressive. So without buttering him up too much, Nick, you've done a fantastic job in that safety context in your day job, if you like, but I think you've also done a great job in raising the profile of this organisation. Your abilities in social media outweigh mine 200-fold, and it's fantastic to see that happening, so great. Okay, this conference should have happened in spring 2020, but COVID got in the way. We thought we'd try again in spring 2021, and we got all excited, and then guess what? COVID got in the way. We then had a cracking wheeze. We were going to come here in the run-up to COP26. And guess what? COVID got in the way. And then on a personal note, we were in the run-up to this and I contracted COVID 2 weeks ago. COVID is a bit of a nuisance, really, isn't it? But it is brilliant to see so many people in this hall today joining us for this conference. And by the way, I am testing negative, so please don't kind of look at me as a Black Death. I would like to do one little test, if I can, before we get on with the main business of the day. How many in this audience would see themselves, would class themselves as electrification engineers? Can you put your hands up, please? That's fantastic. I think what that's showing me is that these conferences are getting us to a position where we are attracting electrification engineers into the PWI, and that we need to do more of.